Hey guys, doing a video today. It's a little bit different. This is not a knife review. I'm sure you guys are probably getting used to that. I post more and more videos that aren't knife reviews, even though this channel is supposed to be about knife reviews. But I wanted to touch on something that I feel like we all need to be talking about. Guys, there's things that happen in this country and in our society that we don't talk about enough, and it gets forgotten and nothing gets done. So I kind of wanted to go over my reaction to the Uvalde school shooting. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown on what happened because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Um, I'm not going to go into detail, no gory details for sure. I just want to tell you kind of how it went down and why we should be talking about it, why we should not stop talking about it until something changes. Um, First of all, this young man walked in to that school after lockdown protocol. He had actually shot at two people in the parking lot. They locked the school down. The exterior door, for some reason, didn't lock. It was not propped open. That was a lie. He just opened the door and walked in. And, of course, the classroom doors weren't locked, so he just randomly selected a classroom, walked in, and started shooting. Guys, the video of the hallway security cameras, you can't see the shooting, but it's still, it'll make you sick to your stomach just when you see the atmosphere. The pastel colors on the walls. This is an elementary school. It's supposed to be a place that's inviting. It does look inviting. It's a place that was built for children. When you hear the amount of gunfire, it's sickening. But anyway, so he opened fire. Surprisingly, the police were there within 3 minutes. Guys, that's a fabulous response time to be there in 3 minutes. So when they get there, the thing that you need to stop violence, the three keys of that are speed, surprise, and violence of action. They had the speed. They were there in 3 minutes. Surprise, they would have surprise because he don't know they're there. They didn't announce themselves. They were right outside the door, just a few feet away. So they had surprise. What they didn't have was violence of action. They chose not to be violent. They were waiting on permission, which makes absolutely no sense to me, because even if you're not a law enforcement officer or military, you don't need permission to protect lives. It's not necessary. And if I'm in that situation and I'm facing jail time or possibly the cops shooting at me because they don't know that I'm trying to intervene, you've got to, as a man, you've got to be okay with that. You just have to be able to accept that. And the reason why I say they don't need permission is because when they raised their hand, they took that oath. They're not just volunteering to protect and serve. The ultimate outcome to that is they're volunteering to die. They're volunteering to put their life on the line and possibly lose their life to protect innocent people. That's what their job is. I remember as an 18-year-old kid, standing there with my hand up at MEPS, getting ready to go to boot camp, and when I recited that oath, I hadn't really thought about it until that moment, until I heard the words coming out of my mouth, and I realized that I was volunteering to die for my country. I hadn't really thought about it, guys. I thought about it as a career path, but that's what I was doing, and I embraced that, and I was willing to do it. How I would have reacted in that situation if put there, I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how they're going to react in a stressful situation. That's why your special forces are. Training is not just tactics. They make it suck. They make it super stressful so that you get used to dealing with it. Anyway, he was in this classroom, guys, for 1 hour and 20 minutes. If you watch this video, right after the first volley of gunfire, you see 3 officers approach that door with body armor. One of them has an AR-15, and they just stopped. So they were right there to stop it from going any further, and they didn't. I'm not making any excuses as to why. I'm not blaming them. All I know is that they didn't do anything. They just sat in the hall for an hour and 20 minutes. And because it was an active shooter in a school, forgive me, I don't know the name of the protocol, but this alert went out pretty much asking for all hands on deck. We need help. So an hour and 20 minutes later, some border patrol agents, not their job to be at a school, they were out patrolling the border, doing what they were supposed to be doing. They heard this call, so they went to see if they could help. I'm sure on the way there, they're thinking they're going to help set up a perimeter, maybe help search. By the time they get there, they may even just help with the investigation, because it should have been long over by the time they got there. But they get there and it's not over. And when they get there, they're very poorly informed. They don't even know that there are dead children in the classroom. You know, they're told that they're waiting on keys to get into this room. They walk up and turn the doorknob and the door opens. It was literally that easy. They just opened the door. They walked inside. They were engaged by this young psychopath, and they put him to forever sleep. You know, the best outcome for that. No notoriety, no fame, no millions of views on YouTube watching the court proceedings. So that's the way that should have went. Anyway, my main reason for making this video is because I kind of wanted to touch on the subject of violence in general. Guys, violence existed before man. It was here waiting on us. It always has been. It always will be. Whether we want to admit it or not, there's something ingrained in us that makes us a violent creature. Some people are better at keeping that pushed down, or some people are better at controlling that. But the violence, unfortunately, violence is necessary in our society. But fortunately, there are men who are good at it. And for that to be the case, guys, we have to train our children, especially our young men, to be savages. First, you have to teach them to be a savage, and you have to teach them how to control that. Because without that control, they can be dangerous. One of the questions that I had when thinking about this situation was, these cops putting themselves in harm's way to save these children. How many police officer funerals would it have been worth to save even one child? How many guys that raised their hand and said, "I'm willing to die if I have to protect my community"? How many of those is it worth in order for one of those children to be able to go home to their parents? I don't know the number. I can't put a number on that. But unfortunately, guys, this is our culture. It was created, by media, by lawyers, by lawmakers, social media. We're trying to do away with toxic masculinity. To a degree, I can agree with that. Boys need to be taught to respect women, but you can't do away with masculinity altogether. And that's what I wanted to touch on here, is that guys, if you're not training yourself to protect your family, then you probably shouldn't have one. I remember several years ago hearing Joe Rogan say the reason why he trains as hard as he does is because of rape and murder. It's all he thinks about is someone trying to rape and murder the people that he loves, and he trains to be a savage so that he can stop that. He trains in that on the jiu-jitsu mats. He trains in that in striking classes. He trains that in firearms classes, so that he can thoroughly and effectively protect his family. And we all should be, guys. There's no reason not to be, unless you're just physically unable. And if you have physical limitations that stop you from training one way, then you should be training twice as hard in another. What I'm getting at is if you can't physically fight anymore, I have a lot of health conditions. I'm in no shape to be fighting, but that's all the much more reason why I should never be out of arm's reach of a way to defend my family. So I make sure that that happens. And guys, this thing is useless without training. I could have, this could be a $5,000 Gucci handgun, and it wouldn't make any difference. It's no difference between a $50 guitar and a $5,000 guitar. Because you have a guitar in your hands doesn't mean that you're a guitar player. Because you have an expensive firearm doesn't mean that you're a gunfighter. It doesn't mean that you're adequately trained. It doesn't matter what you buy. If you buy a high point, don't listen to people making fun of you. I am way, way more scared of a well-trained guy with a $150 high point pistol than I am some fake fanboy Gucci Glock YouTube guy. Training is everything. Because gunfighting and jiu-jitsu are force multipliers. They can be the difference between life and death. They're way more important than size and strength and speed. Somebody that's trained to defend themselves is always going to be more dangerous than somebody that's not, regardless of their size. And I think that one of the mistakes that we've made as a culture is that we've depended more and more upon police to protect us. Guys, they just can't. There's just not enough of them. They're not super effective at it because most of them have not been put into situations to find out how they're going to react. Some guys go through their entire career without ever pulling the trigger, without ever being fired, a shot fired at them. You don't know how they're going to react till they're in that situation. I'm sure all those cops in Uvalde inside that school had this thought of how they would react in that situation, and then when they were put in it, they didn't. It's sad. Lives were lost because of it. But the reason why we need to be talking about this, though, guys, is that if you look at the money that our government spends on these grants to research all these ridiculous things being taught in schools now, and the money that we send over, so how much would it cost to put a good secure lock on every classroom door? Now nationwide, yeah, it probably equals to millions, but school by school, there's no doubt in my mind that you could do a fundraiser, tell these parents, hey guys, this is to protect your children. The community could probably pay for it. I know there's businesses out there that would pitch in and help pay for it. That's all it would have took to save those kids. If he had walked up and grabbed that and realized he couldn't open the door immediately, he'd went to the next one. And if they were all locked, by the time he realized that he wasn't going to be able to get in there easily, he would have been stuck in that hallway and, could have been dealt with a whole lot easier. But I just want to show you, I'm not an artist. I can't draw. I drew up this little thing that I wanted to show you guys to show you where it all starts. These are the circles that I drew, and inside this circle, this tiniest one, this is you. This is where you need to start. You need to teach yourself and teach your children and teach your family how to take care of and protect you. Once you achieve that, then you can learn how to protect your space. And what I mean by that is your home, your workplace, your church, your school, whatever it is, wherever you're at, you need to start training to protect that after you've learned how to protect yourself. Guys, I know it looks silly, but if you haven't cleared your house with an unloaded pistol, just so that you have the muscle memory and know every single nook and cranny, every doorway, which side of that doorway you should approach and how you should approach it, you've made your family unsafe. It's now your fault. Once you've learned how to protect and secure your space, which may just be the room that you're in, you can go to your home, then your community, and hopefully there's still enough brave young men out there that can expand out into your country. Guys, never outsource your own safety. It is up to you. As the population of the country has gotten so big that the majority of the time now, the police just show up to write the report, to make an official recording of what happened. And what happened and the outcome of every situation is way more dependent upon the person in that situation than it is the cop that's 15 minutes away. I'm not bad-mouthing police, guys. It's an unsurmountable task that they have at hand. Some of them are good at it. Some of them are horrible at it. Some of them are crooked. We all know that. But it's necessary, but they're not as necessary as you protecting yourself, you protecting your family. If you're not doing that, well, shame on you, because that's your job. It's not just your job to provide for them and put up money and put them through college. None of that is as important as you keeping them safe. I know this is a knife channel. It's probably not my place to talk about this, but I just want to get my opinion out there and kind of tell you guys what happened. From what I know of, I didn't go into details, but you can't depend on the media to tell you what happened. There's been so many scenarios revolving the cop that they've got the picture of looking at his phone. He was actually looking at his phone because his wife, a school teacher who was in that classroom, was texting him letting him know that she had been shot. There was a social media outcry because he just stood in the hallway and didn't do anything. What people don't know is there's also a video of that man attempting to go to that classroom, and his fellow police officers stopping him. Not only did they stop him from doing his job, not just as a police officer, but as a man and as a husband, they disarmed him and removed him from the building. I don't understand it at all. It's just the culture that we're in now, because everybody's scared to death of being, of having to go to court and being made out to be some monster on the internet, even for doing the right thing. It's stupid, guys. We have to change this, or it's not going to get any better. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think below. Give me your opinion on it, because I like, even if you don't agree with me, you don't get any hate from me. As long as you keep it civil, I don't remove comments. So let me know what you guys think below. That's all I got for y'all today. Peace. Love y'all. Be safe. Be aware. Take care of your families.